Steve, Dustin, and Lucas dropped Max off at the trailer park in Hawkins. There wasn't much said between the four of them on the ride home, hearts still racing at the thought of almost losing Max to Vecna's curse. Images of Max floating 10 feet above the grassy, tombstone-ridden hill flash in Lucas's head. He will never forget how her eyes looked, glassy orbs rolled into the back of her head. She was there and gone at the same time, stuck in a purgatory somehow worse than hell itself. Max doesn't say much as she rolls out of Steve's car, which is still shifting into park as she swings open the door. She mumbles something incoherent before her eyes meet Lucas's. They're like they always were, but tinged with a fear only Lucas can detect. Max isn't one to share her feelings in words or even facial expressions, something he's come to accept. He watches as she slinks toward the trailer and feels for something in his jacket pocket, creased and pointy. He palms an envelope in his hand. When Steve's car lurches into Lucas's driveway, he thanks Steve for the ride and makes his way up the stairs into his childhood home. He scans the living room and finds Erica lounging on the couch, watching cartoons. His mother is cooking in the kitchen, her back turned to him. They have no idea Max almost died. They will never know. Lucas slips into bed and stares at the ceiling. His room is the same as it always was. Blue curtains, a plaid bedspread, his basketball uniform hanging on the door. But the air feels different, evil even. He takes the tan envelope and holds it up in the light, weighing the odds in his head. Sure, Max had survived, but she wasn't in the clear. Would he be able to bear even the thought of her being gone? He tears open the cardboard-colored paper, and two handwritten covered sheets slip out onto his chest. He takes a deep breath and decides to read.
Dear Lucas, I guess if you're reading this, I'm gone. If I survive this freak of nature Vecna thing you and your nerd friends have dragged me into, by no means should you read this. Seriously, stop now. I am gone and you have to keep reading. I'm sorry. Really sorry. Knowing you and knowing the rest of the guys, I'm sure you did everything in your power to save me. Some things are just unsavable. I wish I wasn't. I wish Billy wasn't. I hope he won't be. You know, the day Billy died, I think a part of me died. I tried to hope everything would go back to normal. I hoped I could be with you. Elle could be with Mike, and everyone could just go back to playing stupid games of D&D. Down in Mike's dusty basement or sneaking into the movie theater. I tried, I really did, but I just couldn't stop reliving that terrible night over and over again. I was mad. Mad that people would never know that Billy sacrificed himself for us. Mad that no one will believe us when we say there's some freak monster. Some curse on this stupid town I wished for so long that I never had to move to. I was mad that you wanted to help me move on. Because if I did, that meant Billy was really gone. And there's nothing I can do about it. I've never told anyone any of this. I'm scared no one will understand that I'm madder than I should be. And there's nothing I can do to change what happened. I'm scared that even through all of this, I will need you. That I still need you. And if I need you, I'm putting your life in danger. You changed my life, truly. And if you're reading this, it means that I will probably have changed your life too, but not in a good way. I'm sorry for the pain. I caused you and I pushed you away. I felt broken and numb with nothing else to give. And even worse, I knew you would stay with me when you shouldn't. It's one of the reasons why I love you, but you have to promise me something. Promise me. You won't act like I did when I'm gone. I couldn't handle Billy's death, and I couldn't handle anyone not knowing what he did to save us. But you have to promise that you'll keep living your life for you. Not for Mike or Dustin or Will. And definitely not for those meathead jocks you follow around like the 13th apostle. Actually, the best thing you could promise me is that you'll keep yourself safe and get out of the shithole. But I know you're probably already on your way out. So don't be like me. Live a good life and leave me behind. I always did love you, Stalker. Love, Max.
Tears stream down Lucas's face. His mind races 1,000 places, thinking about the loss of Billy, Max's silence when she sat down to break up with him earlier that year, her eyes. He couldn't forget how her eyes looked earlier that day, but selfishly, he hung on to the last line. I always did love you, Stalker. It replayed in his mind again and again. Did she really mean that? She had to. Lucas raced down the stairs. His mother called out something about dinner being ready soon. Erica barely lifted her head to watch him leave as he slammed the front door. It was dark outside now, quiet. How many times had he read that letter? Could it really be this dark already? It felt ominous outside now, eerily still. Did no one in Hawkins care enough to look out from under their noses to see that something was wrong? Very wrong. He felt exhilaration swirl in his chest, his now beating double time as he pedaled his bike through the empty streets. Max's trailer wasn't far now. He would tell her he read her letter, that he hadn't been able to respect her wishes. He hoped the words he would say to her, that he loved her, would overrule the anger or embarrassment she would undoubtedly feel. Maybe her face would flush and her eyes would narrow, but he'd calm her down, just as she had done to him thousands of times before, and they could be together again like they were always supposed to be. 2 more streets, and he would be there. He rehearsed his lines again and again as his bike wheels squeaked. When he turned onto the gravel outside her house, he dropped his bike, the wheels still spinning. He skipped 3 steps at a time up to her front door. Lucas took a deep breath and knocked hard on the flimsy wooden door. It creaked open slowly, exposing the dark interior. "Max," Lucas called out. "Max, it's Lucas. Can we talk?" He edged around the corner to Max's room. It had been months since he'd been inside, but he still remembered everything. The stay out sign, misaligned on her bedroom door. The musty smell of mildew mixed with a citrus-smelling cleaning agent. Max. But it was too late. She was on the floor. Lucas felt like he had been hit over the head. Her body looked like the others, misshapen and horribly disfigured. Blood leaked out of her eyes. He thought those eyes had looked the worst they could when she'd been suspended in air, but now they were horrifying. He couldn't believe he was wishing they had looked like that now instead of this. All this was racing in his mind so quickly that he only realized now how loudly he was crying. How could this have happened? He was supposed to tell her everything, but she was gone.